Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it? This week, we're going to be talking actually about preparing for my international exhibition and book launch over in Holland. It's taking place this weekend. It's the first book that I'm bringing out this year. I have two. That's four. I mean two. Two. We're going to take you to Holland any minute now. We're going to look at the exhibition. We're going to show you the book. I'm going to show you around. It's the first time we've done it on this channel, and I'm really excited to do that. Where have I been for the last 6 months? Well, sorry state of affairs for me personally this year. I've been in quite a dark, hard place actually. It's been quite tough to get myself through this year, get myself motivated. I lost my father straight after that Lebanon trip that I mentioned earlier in the year. So we were there for 7 weeks, Lebanon, and on the last day I got a phone call to say I'd been taken ill, and unfortunately, as soon as I got back in to Tbilisi, a few days later he passed away, and I ended up running back to the UK, and life took over for 4 months. It's been quite a journey actually this year. Financially it's been tough. The journey with the parents, going back to the UK for the first time in practically 2 years. All really, really tough stuff, but don't want to go on about that too much. I'm really happy to be back doing videos. I'm going to get back to posting weekly. I've got loads of ideas planned for this channel. I've got new gear that I want to talk about. I've got new equipment, new bags, loads of stuff that I want to talk about. Laptop, got a new laptop, need to talk about that as well. Loads of stuff I want to make videos about, content about. I've got loads of things out in the field that I want to go and shoot. So I mentioned a minute ago it's the first of 2 books, and that is true. The second one is due out any minute now as well, in a couple of weeks' time, and that's Abandoned Lebanon. And that's a book that I went and completed, and that was the point of going to Lebanon and Beirut earlier this year. And we completed that, it's been processed, and it's all been printed, and it's due out any minute as well. But this week, we're finally talking about just the main art book. I'm going to show you the concept, show you through the book, we're going to talk about it, I'll show you the gallery, I'll show you the exhibition. Hope you find this really, really interesting. It's something a bit different, I've never done it on the channel before. Really looking forward to it. Let's do it, shall we? In Düsseldorf now. A bit of a mission now because you've got Brexit. On top of Brexit, you've got so the queues are longer because of Brexit and my passport. Also, just the flight was a bit delayed, but we're there. We're now going to get picked up. We've got a 1-hour drive actually to Holland. So I'm actually going to Holland. Going to Mastrich, which is about an hour over the border. So yeah, just got it. A bit knackered. Been up since 4 o'clock this morning. So yeah, gonna crack on. Got my bag. It made it safe. 2 flights. 1 connection, 3 hours, and yeah, I'm going to shoot off. I'm going to get through there and meet Paloma, who's the gallery owner that I'm going to see today. So yeah, I'll catch up with you a bit, and I'll bring you all up to speed once we get there. I made it to Maastricht. I came down last night actually and checked out the exhibition for myself. I wanted to just make sure it was kind of like, you know, like take it in for myself. It's the first time in quite some time that I've done exhibition, done some sort of launch like this, so it's amazing. The guys in the gallery themselves have done a fantastic job. I'm going to walk you around and show you it and explain kind of the ideas and about the whole thing really and what we've done. This is kind of like the entrance obviously to the gallery. It's a huge space as you're going to see it. So in the front section of the gallery you've basically got the section of the main exhibition itself, which is about sand and the overrun sand in lots of the homes out of my series uninhabited. And this kind of series is really like the focus of the exhibition itself, and kind of features quite heavily in the front of the book as well, which I'll show you. And at the rear of the gallery, they've always been stocking a lot of my work, so they've actually got more at the back, which is kind of like my usual work, I suppose. All on plexiglass. It all looks absolutely fantastic. I'm going to show you around. Let's have a look. So in the intro you saw all of the front section of the gallery. So this is all the sand story section, which is really to draw people in, to get people into this space. There's 11 pieces on the wall in plexiglass, 150, and the largest two, the one behind the camera position and one over my shoulder here, is 180 centimetres. So really large format. They look amazing. They're huge on the wall. I've gone around this morning sizing them all and putting all of the descriptions on them, you know, numbering them 1 of 10. So they're all 1 of 10 limited editions. And what we've got here is we've got the brochures all done. They're all good to go. And we've got the book as well. I'll talk about the book a little bit later on, but for now it's pretty much set up and ready to roll. A couple of them have already gone this morning, but officially, of course, it's out tomorrow. Around 2 years ago, I decided to come up with an idea of trying to get an exhibition on in Holland. I've been selling work here for quite some time, usually on this plexiglass, which I'll talk about in a second. The idea really was to focus in on one specific section of the uninhabited series, and that series was all about shooting ghost towns around the world. But when the pandemic came, of course, I couldn't travel as much as I wanted to complete that series off. So it's pretty much delayed indefinitely at this moment because some of the countries and places I wanted to go are well off the beaten path and completely closed at the moment. However, what I decided to then do was release the sand sections, the sand stories section of that series out to the world, all as limited editions of 10 on plexiglass, and these gift boxes. And that coincides with a very delayed book. The book's a collaboration between a local designer and book producer. Then we've got the gallery here, Poston Garcia, which is in Mastrich, and then we've also got my agency, Goodman & Co. And they've all come together to help me produce this book, and we've kind of come together to make it, and it looks fantastic. I'm really, really happy with it. So the idea really with plexiglass is you print it kind of like on a Fuji paper, and once that's been printed, you mount it to dye bond, which is like an alley, but high grade. And then it's fronted with museum acrylic or museum glass, plexiglass. It is reflection free. The idea is when you're standing off to the left and the right and the angles within a room, obviously it completely is reflection free. It's difficult in a gallery space like this because you've got large open windows behind here, and of course the light's blasting in, and you see reflections then going past. It's impossible to get rid of all reflections, of course, on any reflective material, but these do a fantastic job. It's what they kind of put into museums when you're looking at exhibits and this kind of stuff. Okay, so yeah, this one here is 180 centimeters. Absolute beast, top to bottom, obviously portrait orientation. The thing is, when you're printing this size, of course, you notice every single defect. So it's something that you really need to bear in mind when you're printing large. First thing that I did when I walked in the room as a photographer is I went around, I was looking at all the details. When you print this large, you start to notice things that you might not notice in camera or even on your computer screen. So it's quite interesting to kind of see things this large printed. 150 centimeters is pretty much all of the smaller ones, and this one's 180. This one and another one I'll show you in a sec. But large format really looks fantastic. It pops off the screen, it pops off the walls, you know, as well. And it really comes off and comes alive. These kind of acrylic, they kind of make everything really stand out and pop off of the page, if you will, or pop off the canvas that it's on. So it looks really fantastic, and I'm really happy overall that the thing is alive. And we launch tomorrow at 3 p.m. the book. And of course the gallery's in open, but we've already had people coming in this morning. It looks really fantastic. I've actually turned all the overhead lights off to film at the moment. It's just easier with a window light. Of course, this would all be. So for one of these to be produced, this is the 150 over this shoulder here. A 150 is around about sort of 700 euros to produce it. But of course you've then got to add on the commissions for agency, myself, and the gallery. And the gallery is a lot of costs. You know, they've printed all of these, they've done the book production, we've done the whole thing with the opening. There's the space itself, the electric, the paying all the bills, everyone's wages. You've got all of this stuff to pay. So that all the costs here reflect that in terms of the actual sale cost. And a 180, one this size, it probably costs somewhere around about 1,000 euros to produce, somewhere just under. The manufacture costs at the moment are through the roof. Plexiglass is pretty hard to get hold of since the pandemic, because everyone uses this acrylic to make shields and face masks and all this kind of crazy stuff. And then of course they've got metal frames on the back to hang them, and they usually come with these hanging wires as well. So the frames themselves, again, made out of metal construction, and they're quite, you know, the costs on them are all going up at the moment. Print costs are so-so, but then there's the whole shipping factor. So if somebody wanted one of these shipped abroad, of course it's going to cost quite a lot of money to actually package it properly, put it into crates and ship it on out to, you know, wherever they live. So there's lots of factors. So yeah, this is the front section. Let's take you to the rear and we'll talk about them as well. So at the back of Post and Garcia, we have 7 limited editions of 25 on plexiglass, 150 centimetres. The shop have already stocked, you know, my images in the past, and not just here, but also in other stores of theirs around the city as well. So it's not like they're new to my work, but this is more of my, what I would say, my everyday work. It's not a particular series that's different. I'd say the stand stuff is very abstract and a different look and feel to it, and this is my kind of everyday portfolio work. So yeah, very nice. I like the colours. I like the way the post actually gets in the way of downward spiral, this one here, and that makes for a very nice look and feel. Okay, so what we've got over here is we've got the section with all the gift boxes, and of course they've got the book inside, and they've also then got the plexiglass, the little ones like the gift boxes. So the idea, what I'm going to be doing down the line, is we're going to have, from Monday, we're going to have these books available. Let's just sign some of them up to a certain date, and then we're going to have the gift boxes as well, which is going to be basically a 2-tier system, so you can kind of choose if you want the gift box as a whole complete set or if you just want the book itself. So that's what we're going to do. And what we're going to do is just talk a bit about the book now itself, in terms of like the production of it, how we got about doing it, and why, of course, we wanted to do this in the first place. This is the book. It's basically, it's very much supposed to be like an art book, you know, a complete art book. Obviously, the gallery here is obviously selling art. That's what their main thing is, and they have exhibitions in this space kind of, you know, every now and again for different types of artists. It's not just obviously about myself. It's not just about photography either. It's all kinds of artists. So very much was something we wanted to do as an art book. In terms of myself personally, I've been looking to try and do something like this for a long time. Obviously, I've got the Lebanon book coming out very soon. I mentioned that at the start of the video. That's a very different concept. This is very much on the art basis. So the whole point of one of these from a photographer's point of view is this is almost like a place, where a Bible that people can flick through, a portfolio that they can flick through, and they might then like something else in there and want to purchase one of those, either as a plexiglass, as a print, this kind of thing. So it's almost like a portfolio book in a way. This is my journey since 2014. It's not every single thing in here, of course. It's based on, we had a limited amount of page spaces. In terms of like what we wanted to achieve with this, the idea really is that there's 2 types. There's the one for the agency, so we've got the agency involved, we've got the book producer, names on the screen here, the gallery themselves, and between them all, we've all managed to come together to be able to fund this project and get it off the ground. On the seam here, we've got the title of the book, Fabrica, and the Journey into Decay. My name's down the left side. I really like the idea of the kind of concept of the, you know, the shape of it as well. Originally, I thought it should be more like a long 5x4 kind of size, but actually I've grown to really like the shape and size of it because it works for this kind of book. So in here, we have a selection of images that not just myself has chosen. It's actually a combination of all of us together, really. Paloma, who is one of the gallery owners here, she's very much had a hand in kind of like making sure that what's in the book is kind of representative of what eventually she might put on the wall or want to sell. So why did I want to do this? Well, we wanted to do this because for me personally, it's a project that I wanted to do for some time. I actually had a book fall through in 2015 and 2016 in a similar ilk, you know, this kind of showing a whole portfolio of abandoned spaces and decay, but I've kind of transitioned into shooting a lot more stuff than just kind of abandoned these days. So in this book, there is literally, you know, anything that's decayed, so hidden in cities, or it could be abandoned places. It could also be ghost towns like all around me today. In here, we have a selection of images that not just myself has chosen. It's actually a combination of all of us together, really. Paloma, who is one of the gallery owners here, she's very much had a hand in kind of like making sure that what's in the book is kind of representative of what eventually she might put on the wall or want to sell. There's like a piece in here it's written kind of on my behalf, a bit from Paloma's point of view, as she joined me on a workshop in Georgia in 2019. So there's a bit written in here about, from her point of view, about my work. There's a bit in here about my work in general from a writer. And then we've got literally a breakdown of every image, starting with the sand stories, of course, but with more images than what are on the walls here. We've got like drone shots, and we've got all of this kind of stuff in there, an overview of the place. And then we've got the actual journey into the decay. So talking about like each of the images, right way from Georgia through to Bulgaria, Portugal. We've got Lebanon in here. All of the kind of like what I'd class as probably some of the nicest photographs that I've taken over the last 8 years in this genre. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and I think it's fairly interesting how to pull these together. It was quite a rush at the end. We had a designer do the book, and then we simply have everything ready to roll in terms of sizing, and each page has got loads of space to look at the image and take it out. And of course, we've kept these quite small in there for a reason. The reason being, the idea ultimately is they flick through this, it's more of a portfolio, and then they can choose something to buy or take away, or in which case use the actual gift presentation box as well. So there is a reasoning behind it. It's still a beautiful book in its own right, but the whole idea from a photographer's point of view is having something like this out means that very much you can kind of like have it as a portfolio piece. It's really nice to do. Okay, so that's pretty much me. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I've showed you kind of all about the kind of making money side of things, I suppose. The exhibition, it looked fantastic, didn't it, over in Mastrich in Holland. I love the work that those guys have done over there to kind of get this all up off the ground. The book was fantastic. They're now available, by the way, on my website. The link is in the description below. If you want to purchase a gift box, you want to do the signed books, they're on my website. I have personally 250 copies only for sale on my website. The book is actually limited, as you heard earlier on, to about 1,500 copies only. So it's a complete exclusive book designed by all the guys over there that we spoke about. And yeah, if you want a copy, grab it in the description below. It'd be great to have your support. Thank you very much. See you all very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.